Good morning, kiddos. Coach Troy here. Now I'm sitting at home battling out round number 2 with COVID. Alright, and since I'm here, I got some time to waste. I figure I'd break out some of these escape room games that I have not had a chance to get to. They've been sitting on the shelf, alright? One I just finished here is the MacGyver escape room game. Now, this one I've had for a long time. It came out in 2018, so it's a little older. And to say, not a huge MacGyver fan. I know who he is. I've seen the show a couple times, but it just never something that really stuck out, so it always got pushed aside. But I figure I got some extra time. May as well check this one out, and let's just see if the good people at Pressman were able to bring this IP to life. Let's check it out. Now inside the box you're going to find 5 different mission envelopes, and inside these big envelopes are going to be more smaller envelopes as well as different messages, cardboard pieces, tools if you will, puzzle pieces, and many of them will have this kind of game board too that you're going to open up as you solve puzzles and kind of go through that way. Now they're all nice, they're nice, they're colorful, they're thick, easy to read. They're good. They're nice. You're also going to have a utility bag envelope, so you're going to find different pieces like tools almost and throw them on and keep them on as you go through all the different missions through the box. Your starting tool that you get is actually a little mirror piece here, which is kind of nice. Outside of that, you are going to need a computer with internet access because this hooks up to a website where you're going to be typing your answers or clicking on your answers and getting more messages through that. So it's not all just in the box. You do need a computer as well. The website is, website's all right. I was able to log on. There's a timer on there. You select a difficulty level, so that's just pretty much how much time you want to try to get the missions done in, as well as just typing in your answers, figuring it out. It is a bit of a pain. Everything's not in one. Make sure you scroll down and read everything and click on everything. There's a few times I didn't do that and I missed some things and wasn't able to solve puzzles right away because of that. It's just kind of the way the website's designed. It's not amazing, but it's serviceable. It's all right. Now the pacing of the game, it is pretty linear. Okay, so you're just kind of going to go through and solve problems, open up a page, solve a problem, open an envelope, go see your next one, and go on and on and on. There's a few where you do a little backtracking, and there's things that will correlate to what you did earlier, but not a whole lot of that. It's really just going through step by step by step. So you don't really get that whole feel of an escape room. It's laid out almost like TV show episodes. So episode 1, episode 2 through 5, and they do go together. They're not all separate, so it does tell a story as it goes through, which is nice. There's just not a whole lot of referring back and forth. Just a little bit of that. And just depending on how good you are at solving the problems, missions take about 45 minutes each, not terribly long. And they do progress as well. Like the first one is definitely easier, and they get harder as they go through. So it does ramp up in difficulty level, which is nice. Now, speaking of difficulty, that's actually a hard thing to measure in this one. Now, say the puzzles at the first, I liked the first episode a lot. The first mission, it was pretty good. I got through it. Say it was very linear, but I was able to figure out the puzzles. Took a little time on some and figured it out and got through it. Some of the others, though, they were harder puzzles, but they were also more confusing. Like a lot of the wording didn't quite make sense, or like I said, that website I didn't scroll through and see the whole thing, so I missed out on parts. It made it confusing. But a lot of it, let's say, I wasn't sure what they were asking me to do. What exactly was I trying to figure out? It wasn't clear. And, that's where a lot of the difficulty came from. And that's not quite right. That was disappointing, I'll say. There is a hint system in the computer, and so that helped. Sometimes I would need to use that just to figure out what exactly I'm looking to do. Because there, it just wasn't clear, and the hints would sometimes help. And even sometimes with that, I had no idea what they were talking about. And it's kind of weird because some of them, the hints will finish off and give you answers, and some of them don't give you answers. So a little strange, a little inconsistent. So yeah, it starts out easier and ramps up in difficulty, but a lot of the reasoning for it is not the right reason it should have been difficult, if that makes sense. Now, comparing it to other escape rooms, visually it's a lot more like some of the Think Fun ones, like Stargazer's Manor and Dr. Gravely's Retreat. I really like those. You know, the opening of the envelopes, the big envelopes there. I don't know. I think they're more fun than just having a deck of cards. But that's just a little bit in appearances, and that's about it. The puzzles weren't as good. There was not as much going back and forth. Sure, you took some of the pieces and would use them later, like you would in those, but the pieces didn't really seem to make much sense. I don't know. They would just be like random pieces of cardboard that you wouldn't really use as a tool. So, yeah, it's definitely not on the level of quality of puzzles as like your exits or unlocks. So overall, how I felt about this game, I enjoyed it from the start. The first one was promising. There was I felt like, okay, this is something I get into. I'm not a huge MacGyver fan, but it's got the spy feel in there. I'm going to be using tools. It's pretty cool. But the more I progressed, the more frustrated I got with it. The bad puzzle design. It was cool how the story went along, but wasn't that great of a story, though, to be honest. And it just ended up being solving one puzzle after the other without really... It didn't really fit. The puzzles didn't fit kind of fit the story, but not exactly. Sometimes they were definitely forced in, which I get. But overall, this was a disappointing and frustrating experience. You can kind of tell this is just trying to ride the wave of the escape room games that were popular, about 4 years ago when they were really hitting their stride and getting big. Trying to ride the 80s nostalgia that was also really big with the theme. And that's another thing. I felt it didn't even really use the theme all that well. Sure, you'd grab random items and use them like MacGyver would, but they seemed super random. Like you wouldn't hold on to what you were holding on to in this game. Like you'd just be random machine bits and pieces. So I don't know. I don't know. So very disappointed in this one. I'm not even going to try to repack it and give it to someone because I don't want them to get disappointed. I'm just going to straight get rid of it. Not sure if this was a Target exclusive, but I know that's where they were selling it. I managed to pick mine up from, I believe, Discount 70 for a couple bucks. So that being said, I'm not out too much on this one, except for my time. So I'd say if you see this one, skip it. Even if you get it for cheap, I don't think it's worth the time. So for me, I'm sorry. Love escape room games, but this one, don't even worry about it. All right. Well, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all next time.